Welcome to the Big Fat Real Estate Checks podcast with Marco Kozlowski, where we help investors like you get the knowledge and skills you need to replace your JOB with passive cash flow for life.
Welcome, everyone, to hopefully a super exciting podcast. Specifically, if you're fairly new to the business or want to get into the business, there's always a question that is asked, which is, should I start with wholesaling? Is that the best way for me to start learning about real estate and making money since I don't maybe have a lot of experience? Perhaps I can go the wholesaling route. And for those of you that don't know what wholesaling is when you find an opportunity at a discounted price, tie it up with a contract, and then sell that contract to someone else for some cash. So I'd like to have a discussion around that because there are so many people that get into the business with wholesaling, and there are definitely pros, definitely cons. There's a lot of things that go around wholesaling. It's fairly time consuming, which we're going to get into. And perhaps there's a better way that allows you to have the financial independence without having to necessarily wholesale all the time. And we're going to discuss those things today with my two compadres, Frank Galuccio and Gabriel Araiz. And of course, my name is Marco Kozlowski, and welcome to the podcast. And today, again, let's discuss wholesaling. Should you not? Why, when, how, all that stuff. Frank, you seem to want to go first. Let's do it.
I was just going to repeat what you just said, but yeah, you know what? Wholesaling, before I met you, Marco, we were exploring. We wanted to venture. We knew we wanted to do something different in our lives to earn some more income. And it's kind of in your face. I think a lot of people do start in the wholesaling because a lot of people pitch that wholesaling. Use none of your own money. You don't tie up properties. You don't have to worry about toilets. Don't have to worry about managing the property. Well, you know what? After meeting you, Marco, you can still buy a property not using your own money. Don't worry about your toilets and don't worry about management to a certain degree anyways, because you can get other people doing it and you can use other people's money. So I think people fall into that trap because maybe they don't know. So they do a great job marketing if they're getting deals under under retail value. They're doing a great job marketing. Maybe they're spending a lot of money doing so. And I know some people have been spending thousands of dollars to get those leads. And maybe they don't know what's on the other side. Maybe they don't know what that investor that they're buying their notes or they're buying their contract, what they know. And I think if most of them knew that, hey, if I'm doing all this work, why not hang on to that golden goose or to that sheep as opposed to continuing doing this cycle over and over again by just pushing paper and, making, you're still making coin, don't get me wrong, but you always have to work for it.
I think that the premise is, the first thing is, most people seem to think that you need money to be able to get started in real estate on the buy and hold side, for example, where you can just buy the asset and then start just collecting the cash flow. And that's obviously a misconception. We've demonstrated that over the past, number of podcasts. We keep, beating on that dead horse where you don't really need money to make money here. But I think most people go into wholesaling specifically based on that premise alone. They don't have money. They figure, let me flip a couple of contracts and then I'll build my treasure chest, if you will, and then I'll start buying properties with it, which is not a bad strategy if that's what you're doing. But if you're going to continue to wholesale and use that as your only strategy, well, that's like, somebody bringing a toolbox to work, a construction worker with only a hammer in there. And, there's so many things you can do with a hammer, but that's it. And I think the beauty about wholesaling is just it's a nice tool to have in your toolbox because sometimes it is required. And in our case, I know that, wholesaling is never the first thought. It's always sort of the, worst case scenario, if we can't really, hold on to this for one reason or another, now we can wholesale it to someone who wants that type of return. But I think the lack of education on how to get into assets without using the money is really the real reason most people get into wholesaling. But if you stick to wholesaling on its own, and you want to keep doing that, you can make a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. I know people that make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year just simply by wholesaling. But you know what? They got to keep doing it because if they stop doing it, they stop getting paid. So I like I said, I think it's a good tool to have in your toolbox, but it should not be the only tool to have in your toolbox.
Well, wholesaling is active income, right? So you get a property, you discount the price because you can't wholesale something at retail. You have to buy it below retail or even below wholesale if you want to sell it accurately. So if you are able to tie up a property under wholesale, why would you just sell the contract for a couple of bucks? Why not actually own that property using none of your own money? You don't need money, you just need access to money, and asset-based lenders will give you 70% of the value of the property, not purchase price, value of the asset. So if you buy something that's worth 150 and you got it tied up for 100, shit, you can buy that and make cash flow on that all day long. So why sell the sheep? As Frank was saying, sell the wool, collect all that wool. And instead of making 5, 6, 10 grand, make 10 grand a year forever, and then eventually have this property paid off. And you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars on the same asset. And I think one of the reasons people first get into wholesaling is, as you were saying, Gabriel, is you have a misconception that you need credit, you need money. And if you are wholesaling, you are investing a lot of money in marketing, or a lot of time driving for dollars. I was listening to a podcast the day before yesterday, a wholesaling podcast, and people are spending hours a day looking, researching, driving around neighborhoods, looking for, all sorts of opportunities, talking to postmen, putting signs up in the yard, doing all this stuff to make money. And it's fine, but why sell the property? Why not keep all those properties? And and there's tons of companies that make hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars a year as they scale, wholesaling these assets. But imagine if they had kept 80% of the assets and only wholesale 20%, they would be making way more money on a passive level than they would be on an active level. Because as you said, as soon as you stop working, you stop getting paid. So wholesaling is cool, but is there a better way? That's really the discussion that I want to really nail down today. What do you think, Frank?
It always boils down to what you say. It's knowledge. It's what you know. It's what you don't know. Ignorance is expensive. You don't know what you don't know. So most of them foresee something, holding a property, as a big leap, and maybe they don't have the guidance to teach them how to do that. And instead, I've seen people spend a lot of money on lists, or even they'll wholesale someone else's deal. So just say Gabe has a property on the contract that's wholesale, and I go to Gabe and say, Gabe, you got anything? And Gabe says, yeah, I got this, and I got it for 85. It's worth 115 or 120, whatever. If you sell it, I'll give you a bit. So I'm now fetching my list. So they're just building lists, and they're just pawning that deal to them. And eventually this, Gabe gave it to this particular deal to other wholesalers, and now it's becoming a daisy chain. And eventually, if I find someone like Marco that wants to buy it, then I got to go through Gabe, and then I find out that Gabe didn't even have the proper contract. It was someone else that has it. So it's like it's going down the chain, and then it breaks down, and you're miserable. But yeah, if you can keep it, and I understand people use it as a stepping stone to get to the next spot. But as you nailed it, Marco, there's a lot of asset-based lend, or a lot. If you know which asset-based lenders lend on the value, then you don't need any of that money, and you keep half and sell half if you want, or keep 80% and get rid of 20. It's a it's a more of a long-term strategy. Like you said, that's a reactive or active income approach versus a passive. And in the end, I think everyone wants passive. I can't speak for everyone, but
that's right.
Why not? Yeah. Work once and get paid often. That's genius.
It is, but again, and not to knock on wholesaling, because it's a very legitimate strategy, and I think part of the fact is that you have to understand what's your objective by wholesaling. Is it are you wholesaling because you don't want to deal with all the other real estate items or issues or misconceptions? So we kind of put to bed money as one of them, but and Frank, you mentioned changing toilets and whatnot, and that's another misconception where you don't have to do all that. There are strategies to you can use property managers. There's other ways of doing things where you don't actually have to have an active role in your real estate business. But again, if you're wholesaling because you enjoy doing wholesaling, then that's one thing. But wholesaling is not necessarily the only way of getting into real estate, and that's what we're trying to get at here, is that it's a legitimate way of doing so. But if you're doing it because of the misconceptions, then we want to clarify that. And and to show you that there is another way, that you can actually hold on to the sheep or the goose and just sell the wool or the golden egg. And that's what we're here for right now.
So Frank, you have something to add to that?
Yes, actually, if you are wholesaling, think of it this way: you're selling your paperwork or your contract that you worked hard to get, a great price on. You're selling it to people like us, people like Marco, Frank, Gabe, those that are keeping the sheep. And if you learn how to do that, you can keep it yourself and earn. So you're selling it to, you're doing us a favor. You're doing all the other investors a favor, those that are looking for that passive income, work once and get paid often. But you're doing all the working, which again, that's where I have that disconnect where, yeah, it's a great profession up to a certain degree. If you really enjoy doing it, great. But I think for the most people, I think you deep down do want to get passive income and say, shit, you know what? I'll do this for a few years and I want to keep a few my back pocket.
Absolutely. And if you guys want to wholesale something to us, no problem. I'll buy it. And the funny thing is you're going to put in the work. You're going to give it to let's say to me or to Gabe or to Frank. I'm going to use an asset-based lender, use none of my own money anyway that you could have done. You're going to get a couple of bucks and I'm going to get the asset that pays me forever and is going to be passed down from generation to generation to generation, adding to my portfolio. So I've had no money involved, neither of you. You got paid, but I got paid for life. Which side of that coin do you want to be on?
Yeah, 100%. And you got to look at it from that perspective. What truly do you want? And like Gabe said before, you may enjoy doing it, and that's cool. But think about what your goals are and what you're trying to achieve, and are you achieving them doing what you're doing in wholesaling? Like, not to diss the whole profession, because there's people enjoy doing it, and that's cool. But yeah, if you're looking to wholesale, I'm going to reverse what Marco said. If you're willing to wholesale your paperwork, you can. I'll buy it. Gabe will buy it, and Marco will buy it. So I'm going to put myself first on that. Be a little bit selfish, but it's okay. I always share.
That's right. Love that passive income. I can't sing. I haven't been discovered as an actor, but I could do real estate.
Yeah.
And if you do find a deal that is at the right price, you can actually pull $3,000 out at least on the deal, so you still get a little bit of cash the day you close, and then you still make the cash flow. And if you do it right, if you don't want to deal with tenants, trash, toilets, termites, all that other crap, if you buy the right asset at the right price and you do a lease option, for example, the tenant that's in the property is going to take care of that property, and they also give you a large down payment to have the right to buy that property. So you're making cash flow, you're making a down payment, and you're eventually selling it anyway at a retail price, not a wholesale price. So there's so many things that you can do if you learn the right skill sets. And as you both said, the more you learn, the more you earn, and you don't know what you don't know, and ignorance is extremely expensive. So do you really want to be wholesaling to wholesale because you enjoy it? Then instead of wholesaling it to yourself, then make $3,000 and then own it forever. So you can still get the thrill of the hunt, but at least then you own the asset forever and still get paid. So you could do that. If it's fear of all the other stuff, then get educated so you don't have that fear anymore, because fear is only going to stop you. Fear is a great controller, and all fear really stands for is fuck everything and run. You just get the hell out of there and you don't do what you're supposed to do. So stop being afraid of it. So why are you wholesaling? Is it because lack of knowledge? You don't know where to start? Then get educated. And, we're more than happy to help you learn how to not only find assets at below wholesale prices, use asset-based lenders so you can take them down, get paid at closing, and make passive income forever. And if that is something that you want to learn and you want to start earning more, let us know. Send me an email, marco@marcokozlowski.com. Love to be able to help you, give you some tools, and just really learn how to do things properly so you really never have to work again. You don't have to hustle forever. You can hustle for a short period of time, just like Frank did before he met me. He had a full-time job. Gabe, full-time job. Now they don't have to work anymore. Real estate takes care of them, so they can do whatever the hell they want, which is the whole point. You don't have to work for 85 years in order to retire. You can just work for a short period of time and then never have to work again. And that's our goal for this podcast series. Thank you, gentlemen. Hopefully we nailed it a little bit, and appreciate you, the listener. And again, if you love this series, please comment. We always love great comments. And share this with your friends, family, social media. We really do appreciate it. And we look forward to giving you as much value as possible so we can continue doing this and just helping others want to achieve financial freedom in a very short period of time. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
If you like this episode of Big Fat Real Estate Checks, then show some love by leaving a comment and a good rating. Also, as a thank you for tuning in today, we've got a special free gift. The journey to passive cash flow for life starts by finding deals, and it's easier than you think. Simply go to getdealsbytuesday.com, enter your email address, and we'll send you a free quick start course called Deals by Tuesday. Even if it's 11 p.m. Monday night, this course will show you how to find discounted real estate deals by Tuesday. It's that fast and simple. Go to getdealsbytuesday.com and start your journey toward life-changing cash flow today. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.